you, madam. Now, let's welcome to the panel discussion Madam Lakshmi Alluri, who is certified in Advanced Educational Leadership from Harvard University, USA. She has 28 years of association in the field of education with experience in India and abroad, with more than 25 years in a leadership role. She has written articles, presented papers at various international conferences, participated and conducted webinars, and is also a recipient of BET Asia Award for collaboration along with other national and international awards. She is the author of the book, Who Are the Pathbreakers in a School, which focuses on transforming schools to the 21st century levels, released recently by AICTE Chairman Dr. Anil Sahasrabuddeji and NCERT Director Dr. Sridhar Srivatsaji. So over to you, madam, for the panel discussion.
1 minute. Lakshmi ji, I must share this with, because I shared that moment when you were receiving the award from AICTE and I have gone through your book. It's a wonderful book. So congratulations once again. It's a really nice book. One should read it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Anju ma'am. Thank you so much. That really gives a lot of energy when it comes from people like you.
Yeah, I was also there, madam, to
yes.
Yeah, I was also one of the
okay.
episode.
Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
It is a real wonderful book and has lot of insights.
Yeah, I have practically, it's my professional diary, I would say. And first of all, thank you to, Shiksha Kalyan Foundation is not new to me. I am also part of it. And thank you to Seth sir, Jagdish ji, and Tusharika ji for spearheading this program about women empowerment. And Dr. Shikha Darbari ji, for sharing her knowledge and her experience and her journey as a woman and the challenges that she has faced. It's been a real enlightening, really, and lot of learning also at the same time. And also Dr. Alkaji and of course Dr. Anju ma'am. It's always been a pleasure to interact with you. Okay, now coming to this woman empowerment, I have been in this school zone, I would say the K-12 zone, or all my professional life, throughout my professional life. Now, I think we have come a long way from what Gandhiji said, that if you educate a man, you educate a man. But if you educate a woman, you educate a generation. It's fine, it's a very profound statement. But if you look at all the women who have been successful today, and even what Dr. Darbari ji shared, every woman who has been successful has gone through a lot of struggles. They had to actually prove themselves that they're capable of something. In spite of being educated, they have not been accepted at par in the society. That they are capable of something, that they are capable of handling something, and whose opinions matter. They are people of quality. Every time we had to prove ourselves. That is one thing. And Dr. Darbari also shared this in many examples also, including the Czechoslovakia example. I like that very much. Okay. Now, the fact that everywhere there's a clamor for 33% reservation, when we are 50% of the population, why are we happy about 33% reservation? We should be speaking about 50% reservation. First of all, why reservation? But what is the reality? As again, what Dr. Darbari shared, it's 14% in the parliament of our country today. So where are we? And we had to wait 400 years for a woman to become the vice president, that too not even a president, vice president in the US for the first time. So where are we heading? I mean, women's empowerment and all of this is been there for a long time. And today we have so many examples of women who have broken the shackles of society. One of whom is my role model, like Durgabai Deshmukh ji, who after going through child marriage, and this is in the early 1900s, she was able to convince her parents that she needs to get out of this child marriage, and get out of that child marriage by the age of 15, And of course, that she has joined the freedom movement, and she's part of the freedom movement with Gandhiji and Nehruji is again history. But then it has to come from within, that I will empower myself. Nobody need to empower us. That empowerment has to come from within. I will do it. I can do it. When will we see that day? How many of more examples do we need for people to give us examples and stand up like role models before we can see that day? Because today also, although in spite of having so many examples, there is a large segment which needs emancipation. Here, I would like to cite one small example of what we came across in a school, in one of the schools. As a school leader, we interact directly with young children and parents. This is the story of one particular girl where in a class where the teacher was having a casual conversation, the teacher asked, how do you help your parents? How do you help your mother? What do you do at home to help your mother? What do you do? Do you help your mother? Do you help your parents? Do you help your father? What do you do? Yeah. Then one of the girls, who was generally very quiet in the class, suddenly she answered, I help my mother when my father is beating her. Now, what is the message that this young girl is getting? She has seen her mother getting beaten. Her mother is an educated woman. She is getting beaten. She did not try to resist. She did not try to protect herself. So what is the message that this young girl is getting? That when I grow up, I will also be treated like this. And if there is a boy in the family who is watching this, what is the message the boy is getting? That when I grow up, this is the way I have to treat my wife. So what is it that we are doing? Where are we heading? They are educated. Both the parents are educated. So is education the only answer? Again, in one of the training programs that I've conducted plenty of training programs across the country, especially since I relocated back. I've become by default an educational consultant, I would say, and I've trained more than 3,000 teachers across, and more than 500 principals and school headmasters. In one of my training programs, one of the school headmaster asked me, Madam, how do we counsel the parents where they send the boys, this is in the rural sector, village sector. They send their boys to a public school after feeding them with full breakfast, everything, giving them milk and breakfast. And from the same family, the girls come to the government college without eating any food or anything. And in the assembly itself, these girls start fainting. How do I counsel? What should I tell the parents? I mean, this is the reality today. On the one hand, we are talking about, so many things that we have to do. There are so many examples. And we are in the 21st century today. The Sustainable Development Goals, Goal 5 says gender equality. That is to be reached by 2030. So if gender equality is still figuring in Sustainable Development Goals across the world, which is needed to be achieved by 2030, at least by 22nd century. I think 21st century is getting over. At least in the 22nd century, will we see some change? And talking about education, education has been a woman's domain. All of us know that. If you see, practically 90% of the teacher fraternity is all women, right? And we generally attribute it to women, teachers, as women. The moment anybody says teacher, the first picture that one gets is a woman. It's very rare that one thinks about a man being in a teacher's role. Although we have seen some men, even at in the pre-primary school also, so very few percentage of men actually do very well there. But generally and largely in the school sector, if you see, it's predominantly women who are there. What we feel is by nature, women are very assertive, resilient, very resilient, passionate, highly adaptable, courageous, they show gratification. You know, these are all the attributes that are required for a dedicated teacher and educator. And probably it is these maternal instincts which sort of help the woman to take teaching as a natural profession. Although sometimes it is by chance, very few percentage of them come by choice. That is also there. And so should we say thank you to the society that you have left the most important task of preparing the next generation to women? Because how is the next generation coming? They are the children. Today's children are the next generation. So bringing them up, shaping the next generation is again a woman's forte. That is where you want women again. So should we say thank you to society for that? And traditionally, if you see in our society, educating the girl child has always been a great challenge. Many of you mentioned it also, that, you know, when there is a boy and a girl in the family, the boy's aspirations are met without any question. And when the girl wants, I think even Dr. Darbari mentioned it in Hatsalpa, yes, all of us have come from privileged families. But how many families are as privileged as we are? Even I would say, I have come from a very privileged family where my father had very progressive thoughts. We were all 4 girls in our family, and for all 4 of us, he ensured that whatever we wanted to study, whatever we wanted to do, there is no hindrance there. And thanks to God and for the blessings, even whether it is my husband or my children, the kind of support and the encouragement that they've given, that is how I would say where we are where we are today, where I am also today, in every respect. Now, in spite of society having, and with the exposure that the young generation is having today, there are some girls who are coming out for financial freedom. If you see, Dr. Darbari mentioned, Dr. Amartya Sen's 3 points, what he mentioned: education, financial independence. This financial independence is what girls are looking for today, to ensure that in one way to emancipate them, empower them, that financial freedom should empower themselves. And that is with the exposure that they are getting, whether it is from the society. Today, the kind of exposure that our children have is very huge. I mean, it's uncontrollable also. And here, Brigham Young says that these women are capable of bringing about changes in economic, social, and cultural environment in their society also, if they empower themselves. Again, there is another example. For every time we want to move forward, what we see here is, what is the background? In one of my teacher training programs, again, not one actually, in many of them, I ask teachers, what is your personal goal in life? What is your professional goal in life? Everywhere I get the reply. Practically till today, I have not received a reply that I would be satisfied with. Everyone is saying, how can I have a personal goal? You know, I'm governed by my family. Wherever my husband goes, even I have to go. Wherever, I have to go. Whatever my children want to do, I have to do. So, and how can I have a professional goal? How can I have a personal goal? They are all governed by their whole family. Generally, if you see, a woman's career is always governed by the husband. You will find very few percentage of husbands who have actually either sacrificed or compromised their careers so that their wives can pursue their professional goals. So while there is a lot of focus about equality, especially in the facilities generated for education, although we have co-education, girls' education, all these facilities should be there. And now toilets was one of the major concerns, especially in the rural sector, that is being addressed to, and all that. What one needs to focus about is to bring equity, to quell the gender disparity, to provide opportunities that are tailored to the system, so that it fits everyone's situation, rather than emphasize on one size fits all approach. This can answer many pertinent issues that are plaguing our society, especially
Lakshmi madam,
as regards, yeah.
we are running short of time, ma'am. So
One more
how
minute,
much time?
and I'm done.
Yeah, ma'am.
I'll
Yeah,
just
ma'am.
take
Yeah.
one more minute. I'll close now. Okay.
Yes.
So we need to tailor the situations to suit the girls, so that, and create the opportunities for them to empower themselves and emancipate themselves. And today, if that kind of opportunities are provided, they are ready to break the glass ceiling in every sphere of life. They are ready to storm all bastions of society to keep up and work to build a gender balanced world, which includes boardrooms, governments, media, coverage, employees, sports, everywhere, and so on. And finally, I would like to close with one sentence. All women are working women. Only some are salaried. I would like to close with this. Thank you.